Hi, Carol here. A warm welcome once again to my craft room. And yes, can you believe over 2.5 hour tutorial for this wedding card? My daughter-in-law needed a wedding card for tomorrow, and I've been working on this for a couple of weeks. And it's a special card because you'll see why when I get to each page. And I thought it would be nice to show you how I am inspired and how I proceed to make a 6-sided wedding card with an attached box to put it in. And that box will be on another tutorial just for time-wise. And you can only imagine, right? Yeah, you'll have to do this one in sections. I'm working with Spellbinders LDRS creative dies. I will put up the majority of the dies that I did work with, and I'll put it also on my blog and try to get as many over to scrapbook.com as I can, because I get a little bit on each order, just a little bit of income on each order if you order from scrapbook.com. So I appreciate that, and I'll put it all over on my blog later. So here we go. I'm working with the draping vines, as you can see, beautiful Spellbinder dies. And then it has an element die that has lots of things on the inside of the die to make it work, you know, just to give it that extra oomph. So it does add one to another. You can work with them. It's a 7 by 8 inch card. I used cream cardstock from Michaels, white cardstock from Michaels, only 100 pound, because if you're working with intricate dies like this, you don't want to work with 60-pound cardstock. It rips, doesn't come out of the die. Try to get your poundage up to at least 100-pound weight, and that'll give you a beautiful cut. These dies from Spellbinder are absolutely amazing, and I can't say enough about LDRS creative dies. They are fantastic dies. So here we go. This is how I begin a card of this magnitude, and I think of all the cards that I have made over the 5-year journey, this has to be one of my favorite designs ever. I put a lot into this because it was for my daughter-in-law and because it was going to YouTube, and I want to inspire you and show you how it's easy to do a 6-sided card if you take this type of approach. Let's go with that. So excuse all of the dies. There's lots of them, and I want to have them on the screen for you. If you like them, you can order them. How's that? What I do first is, when I'm making a card that has 6 sides, you want to have your stockpile. That's the word I'm going to use. You want to die cut as many beautiful elements as you have in your stash and set them aside. Now, the colors that my daughter-in-law wanted for this wedding card are white, cream, and light pink gold. So white, cream, light pink, and gold. I got out all my Victorian style dies, and I just went to town with working, doubling up on each color. So if I had to go back and forth and use a different color, I would have them available, because I didn't know what direction I was going to go with this card. I just knew it was going to be a vintage card. I was going to use all my vintage style dies that I had in my stash, and I created each card one side at a time. So I cut out, obviously, the base. I wanted to have 4 layers of cards. So I started with cream, white, cream, gold, white. And then I would reverse the white to cream. You'll see as I put them down before I even design on top. I want to have the basics done. Now, this is a really cool mat to have. I've had it forever. And if you're working with a lot of dies and you have to get those guts out all at once, this little sponge mat, which goes along with that kind of roller thingy there, and I apologize for my light, my overhanging light there. I do realize it later and move it, so please excuse that. So this is the two-in-one, and it's the two-in-one foam. All I could see was the number at the bottom there, the scan number, so I put that on there. And what this does is it puts all of the elements onto the sponge. And here's another one I ordered from another company, but I didn't have the paper to it to tell you what company it was. But when you roll the guts out, it has this kind of magnet stuff on it. It holds it to the foam, and when you bring it to your garbage can, it just falls off instantly. I don't know. That's why I ordered. It's fantastic. Now, some of the dies, you don't put the outside die on it, and you just get the embedded portion without cutting around it. I leave that off, and I fussy cut it like this with this Gothic die. And all it is, I don't like the word Gothic so much, but it's Victorian. It's a beautiful embedded, almost like you put an embossing folder through. It's that pretty. And then you just fussy cut. I did 2 of them because I don't know if I'm going to use it, because as you can see to the left, I have tons. And you want to be organized. So I separated all the colors. Everything I did, I put it on a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, put the gold and the white and the cream together, just in a pile, nothing too, complicated. And I grab from that pile as my mind develops a design for each of the cards. So here I am thinking to myself, okay, what size do I need to, and I still don't have a main plan yet. I always start with the base of my cards. Get that down, and then you're on your way. It frees your mind up to create, actually. And you'll be amazed once the base is done how much freedom you have to work the dies and your stamps and your ink, whatever you're using. It just frees your mind up to actually put 6 different designs on, let's say, each side of the card. Okay, so we need to score it. I've got it 7 by 8 in the cream. This is the 110-pound cream at Michael's. I'm sorry, I think I said 100-pound. It's 110. It's a nice weight. I'm going to score it to have, let's see, half an inch right off the bat. That's going to be where I'm going to put one more 7 by 8 card. I hope I get to explain this. You want to crease it nicely. And so I'm going to have one on one side, one on the other, so that they flip closed. So it's going to have a main focus middle section. Then it's going to have 2 flip outs to the left and to the right of the card base. So that's where you get 6 panels, 3 on the inside, 3 on the outside. I knew the colors, so that made it easy. And I have enough dies that I can always get up and grab another die that comes to mind. But I really do love designing with everything cut. Now, I wanted to have the spine an inch. So when I go to score it, I'm going to score it 3/4 inches on the score mark. And then I'm going to come over 1/4 inch and score again. That way I have a place to seat the next page to the right and to the left. So I will set them on the 1/4 inch mark, glue it down with double-sided tape, and then I'll have a 3/4, well, actually on the fold, I'll have a perfect inch, because I need the depth to be able to put a dress and a groom outfit in a shadow box. And also, I'm going to be working with florals, like roses that I made, and you're going to need that depth as well, especially if you tuck the card in different ways. You can fold it inside out, right side up. It works out perfectly. I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you are interested in making a wedding card, this would work out for any occasion. To have a 6-sided card, which just means you have 2 folds coming in perfectly. It's not like a gatefold where it meets. It's 2 actual pages coming in on themselves. So here I put the double-sided tape. You can see how I'm going to have that inch on the spine, and it's going to really come together well. So here I am just cutting it off. I think I had this just a 1/4 of an inch too long, and I can fix all that. You know, you can fix everything you need once you get the first panel down. So yeah, I just wanted to shorten it up. It ended up across that I went 8 1/4. I need to take that 1/4 inch off. So here we go. So it's 7 by 8. I have the first flap down. I need to score it so that I can put the next flap. So you score it at 1/4, then you come in and score it at 1 inch, and that, or excuse me, well, 1 inch, because that'll make 1/4 and 3/4 is 1 inch, right? I hope you aren't confused right at the start. You can work with any size card you like. I happen to like the size of this. 7 by 8 was just perfect for me, and with the designs that I wanted to do. So the beauty of this card is that I have the measurements perfectly to make the panels. You can see I have the 1 inch on the spine of each side. I reinforced them with a paper panel on each side. So I just cut out the 1 inch strips, 1 by 8 inches, and I used double-sided tape, and I put it down, and then on the outer edges I put a little bit of liquid glue so that I knew nothing was going to come apart. And then we're going to proceed. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. And another thing, you can speed it up and go right to the end. You can watch it in sections, but I did want to give you some inspiration on a wedding card. There's so many beautiful wedding cards on YouTube. So this is my version of a wedding card. So here we go. Cream. I'm going to do every panel. I'm going to score it just a 1/16 of an inch in. I'm going to score it I'm going to distress all the edges first before I put it through my Xyron. This is the 9 or 10 inch Xyron. I can't remember the exact size. But if you're doing a large card like this, a Xyron makes it quick and easy. You take your bone folder and go over all of it. That way it'll be nice and smooth when you lay it down. Make sure you score it beforehand, or distress it, excuse me, because it's hard to distress it when you have that glue on there, right? So I'm having to do it here. With an extra piece. I wanted to add an extra piece. It can be done, obviously, right? But if you forget to score it first, you know what? I did score all of these. The reason I did it over again is it flattened it out in the process of running it through the Xyron. So it wasn't hard. You can see I just quickly go over it just to give it that little torn edge. Wanting to have that vintage feel. It's always nice just to roughen up the edges just a little bit, and the Xyron machine makes a project like this nice and easy, swift and clean. I really like that. So we're going to cut these off. Then once I do, we're going to put them on each page. And this is nice because with a card like this, let's go with a card like this, everybody. You have to have a plan of some sort. So I like to, just like a canvas, I like to prepare it. Just as you would put the gesso on and, you know, prime it and get it all ready. That's what this is. You put all your layers down, you form the card size, you add to it, put your layers all on, and then you start the wonderful task of designing. It's all in the designs, and I love to just think up things that are different and elegant. There's nothing like a beautiful, elegant card. Here I'm matching up the embossing powders. I have a lot of different shades of the gold, so I wanted to get that down because this is what I'm going to do on the edges of just the middle portion. I take out my coffee filter, and this is the Blushing Pink by Stampendous, and then I use the Recollection Gold you get at Michael's, and just with my finger I'm just mixing it up, and it just adds to that vibe of pink and gold when you put it on the edges. There's the color, and this light pink. Wait till you see the match. It's amazing when you go to your stash, all the things you can get. And yes, I did spill the gold. I didn't keep it in there, but I just want to tell you, I did spill it. You know, there's all these little mishaps that make it absolutely wonderful because I don't know, it just adds to the ambiance of making the card. You have to spill, look at me, just pushing it off to the side. Oh, I did get a good tumble on there. I'm taking my micro brush, and I will leave a link for these over on my blog. You can get them for $1 for 100 online. So I'll try to remember that for you. Micro brushes come in handy for a lot of things. And now I will just add it from one coffee filter to the other, and just make sure you don't quickly, if you're not thinking about it and you put that back in your gold little round jar, you're going to be in trouble because you're going to have pink in there, and then you're going to have to use it for, you know, a mixture from then on in. And I have the liquid Versamark. I can't be without it. It's nice to refresh your Versamark itself with the liquid, but it's also nice to use it. And look at that vintage look. Oh, talk about filigree hearts falling from the sky. And that beautiful pink. Ugh, it's beauteous. Talk about getting excited. I'm loving it. Yes, that's why I love creating. It just, oh, it's wonderful. So here we go. We're going to lay out a card to the left, a card front to the right, and it's got that little bit of distress to it, which is beautiful. And you know what else it has? Stability. It's thick. That's what my cards are known for, is having that bulk and weight to it. So because I'm going to design both the front and the back of all 6 sides, you're going to want to make sure that you put your fronts on there, your card fronts. I did cream on cream. That always looks beautiful. Always in my mind thinking, okay, there's only 4 colors to this. There's cream, white, pink, and gold. That's all I had to worry about. And talk about it, that's all I had to worry about, right? Yeah. But that's all I had to worry about. And look at the sides of that card, because I added stability to the 1 inch on every corner. So you have that 1 inch on each side thick. Now I will get out and start the planning. Okay, what do I want to do here? Do I want to make it more of the cream on cream and accentuate with a light portion of pink and a light portion of gold? I wasn't quite sure. So I'll lay it out and see what I think here. You can tell when you get to the end how different the pages are, one from another, totally different, but each has its own appeal. I do like this, you know, adding to it. And it is truly amazing. I have to say this, how we sit down. I see it in so many tutorials of card makers, so much talent out there. And watching their process and thinking to myself, I know exactly where they're going with that. And then boom, they change it up on you. That's what I do. You think it's going in one way, and all of a sudden you take a break or something and you're thinking on it and you're looking at it and all the goodies you have to play with. And once that thought comes to your mind, oh my, Yes, set the base. This is the Oval Floral 5 from Spellbinders. Like I said, a lot of Spellbinder dies going on here, and LDRS Creative dies. Whoa. There's a couple of dies I keep right next to me because I use them all the time, and you're going to see that. You have to check out LDRS for sure. And here I have these beautiful Victorian fan. Ah, I want to say dies, but I just don't want to be so repetitious because it's such a long video. But these are beautiful. And you can go on at times. I got these at a wonderful sale price online. And here we go. I'm just showing you that's the vines. It has the birds in there. This is what I make my roses out of, this die. And all kinds of beautiful edging and the impression of session die. Kept all of the little heart dies separately on a magnet so that if I ever need some, different size of hearts. So here we go. Can you imagine, like, we're all friends here. I love to yuck and chat at you just like you're sitting here in my craft room. I know that you feel like you're in my craft room because you tell me in your comments, and I just love that. Oh, yes, how exciting. This is the first time I use my Gemini. I love my Gemini. I love it. I love the Vagabond, the Big Shot Pro, the Big Shot Plus, or whatever it is I have over there. But this is the ultimate machine. It is. But I left this in for you. So if you follow me, you know I make mistakes. And this was a doozer. Watch this. I fill it up as much as I can without touching because it does spread. You don't want to touch your dies on any die cutting machine. Look what I did. Where's the paper? Yeah, I had the dies facing up because you don't want to face them down. You'll cut into your magnet board there. So I had them all facing up. And then I put my metal shim, and it's to the left. My machine, my Vagabond's to the right, it's to the left. And I take it out, and there's no paper. I'm looking at it going, wait a minute, something's missing here. What is it? It was stuck. Look it. It was embedded in my plate, in my clear plate. And this is brand new. I mean, I just did the workings of my Gemini for the first time. This is funny as anything. I couldn't stop laughing. I'm digging out my dies. Oh, yes, this is what happens when you're doing a whole lot of things at one time, right? But I thought I have to leave this in because really, who leaves the paper out? I do. Woo, my hand's going up in the air. So anyway, let's just move along. I thought I would share that with you. Let's get a little more serious. Okay, take everything off, and we're going to start again. I'm going to shake all the bits off there, and I'm going to start thinking layers. That's what you want to do, think layers. And watch this. Look at all the space I have to work with on the inside because of that gusset of 1 inch. All of that is so planned out. I just love when a plan comes together. Don't you? Any plan. It's wonderful. Me not putting paper in there is like me not adding liquid to a cake mix. And have powder flying all over the place, wondering why it's not all sticking together. Yes. So here's my 7x7 gold mirror. It's called MIRRI paper. You think mirror. And there's the Recollection white. I think it says 110. I'm pretty sure it's the 110. So I got to rip into that because I don't want to use my 140, my really thick paper. You don't want to go too thick, but you also don't want to go too thin. So the Recollection's getting it at Michael's and using your 40% coupon, and then wait for the 20% off your total order. Whoa, that's a bonus. Yes. And I do apologize again for that light. I don't even have the light there. I don't know why. You know why? I do. I just thought of it. I'm working at night here. So I was working day and night. I'm doing the edit. Now it's around 7 o'clock. It's pitch black out here in Ontario. and it rained all week. Just wonderful crafting weather, actually. The fall leaves, oh, it's beautiful, just beautiful. And it did put me in the mood to create, so that's nice. So here we go, remembering that on the edges they're all super thick as well, that 1 inch. We have paper down on that as well. So now we're doing the building, I call it the building process. Yes, so we have the framework. Now we're building on the framework, and this is fun. I mean, this is like 6 cards at one time, creating 6 beautiful wedding cards, but they're all for the same person. Yeah, I get more excited, I think, doing the voiceover than I do anything else, for sure. It's more exciting to do this than the edit, but the edit has its place. Here we go. You can see the distressed edges, and now we're going to move to the back. I'm pretty sure this is the back, and once again, the old Xyron, I love it. I think it's 10 inches across, but don't quote me on that. It could be 9 inches or 10 inches, but I just love a Xyron machine, whether it's the 1 inch, the 6 inch, the 9 inch. I heard that they make it in the 15 inch too. Whoa, that'd be wonderful as well. So now the mirror paper. Put it down. This is beautiful. This is the mirror paper that my friend Tina, hey Tina, I'm actually doing the voiceover. I'm still doing it. Yeah. She sent me these. We exchanged. I gave her some Heartfelt Creation collection paper, and we exchanged. She gave me the mirror paper. Actually, it's like a cardboard. It's beautiful. And I've used all the gold, Tina. And Tina's saying, good, you can order some. I'll send you the link. Right, Tina? Okay, I have to say happy birthday to my friend Deb. Happy birthday, Deb. So here we go. Yes, I think of these things as I'm doing a voiceover. Isn't that funny? I think of all of you that send me your comments and that you individually write me and let me know your process, what you think of my tutorial. That's amazing. I love that you take the time to do that. Thank you very much. A thank you to all my subscribers, all 17,500 of you. Oh yeah, I make sure I answer y'all back, and I love to get to know you from all over the world. That's amazing, isn't it? What a blessing. I am so blessed in that capacity. Thank you very much. So let's move on. Now, I ended up not using this piece. No, I did use that, sorry. I guess I did. And when I'm tapping my finger there, it's because I'm thinking to myself, don't distress the gold, Carol. Don't distress the gold. Leave your gold straight. Yes, just like that. You can see the difference. On paper, distressing the edges, it looks great. But when you come around to working with gold, yes, it's hunky-dory, mirri, M-I-R-R-I, 7x7 paper. And my friend Tina told me that she got it on Amazon. So I will leave the link for that. And the good old ATG gun, love it. I buy the Gold Series tape, and that's super sticky. And I already ran out of my 1/2 inch. So I have 2 1/4 inch ATGs going because it is better than, well, it's as good, let me say that, as the double-sided tape. If you use the Gold Series, you don't have to worry about it falling off. It is a really good ATG tape. I'll throw that in there. Now, I wanted to say this. If you don't want to waste any, paper, you can cut around and take the guts out like this, because you're only going to see the edges, but you have to be very careful. The reason why I did this is because I knew on the other side of this piece I think it's the florals on the other side. You don't want to have a severe bend in the center. So be very careful what's on the opposite side if you do this, right? Because we're stacking our papers up. And I thought, okay, I'll just show you one way to save on. We all do it. I don't think I'm telling you anything new. I just thought I would share that with you. And isn't this beautiful vine dye? Yowzer. I just love looking at it. And you think it would stick inside and whatever, but the 110 pound from Michael's just, it came out beautifully. And then using the mat there with the kind of broom sweepy thing, taking the gut pieces out is fabulous. So here we go on the ATG. You know, it's quick like this. I used to use double-sided tape, and I have the 6-inch roll of double-sided tape as well. But you know what? ATG is just as strong. So there you go. I've got the, okay, let's go with the base. I have the base color, paper. Then I have another piece of cream, then a piece of white, then another piece of cream. So we're working on 4 layers here. And you can tell I design right on top of my work. Be careful when you do that. You don't want to slip with your ATG and then it's on your paper. So here we go again. I'm going right over top of it again. Now another cream. I think in the end you end up with 6 stacked layers on every panel. Oh, you can't get too many layers. You can't. Look at that. Run it through your Xyron if you like. Whatever you want, but just make sure. I don't like to put liquid glue when it comes to putting it on gold, shiny paper like that. Just because of movement, and then if it gets on it and smudges, whoa, you're peeling it off really and starting over. So it's not worth the risk to me. So I just put on the, yeah, whoa, go Carol, go. There you have it. Isn't this fun? Now you can stop and get yourself a coffee. Here we go, a tea. I drink instant coffee. I actually had one going this morning. I've been doing this since I started the edit. It's been 3 days. Then I had computer problems and had to talk it through with Apple. It took me a whole day. Yes, it took me from 8 in the morning until 10 that night. And then I was able to have a remedy for it. I mean, these are the things we run into when you do videos. So when I watch tutorials, I'm very grateful for those that take the time to do them for us as well, you know. I'm not honking my own horn. I'm just saying that. A lot of work goes into putting a tutorial up for sure. So here we go. But it's enjoyable. Now there's the first size. I thought of doing this, but the paper was too light and I didn't want it into another flap to open up. So I just threw that aside and I'm going to move forward. I guess I got rid of the light here, or else I zoomed in. So here we go. I'm just cutting it off. I'm going to distress all the paper on the edges. You don't have to do a deep distress. And here we go. Boing! Surprise! LDRS. I am in love with this die. I'm in love with this peekaboo heart die. So many possibilities. Don't look at all that stuff there. It's just stash I had. I did use the Mama Elephant Bountiful Blessings for the congratulations and the Mr. and Mrs. I have had those golden white flowers in that round tin to the right for 4 years. I remember the day I got those at Michael's. I really do. I went to my stash and they're as light as, they're almost, you could blow them away with a breath. They're so light and feathery. They're beautiful. And this LDRS, I think everybody should have. If you do heart anything, you need this LDRS creative die in your stash. And the prices over there, mind-boggling. They're so good. So check it out. And this would make a card on its own, an A2 card size, just putting it on the front. So I cut it out, trying to be mindful. I need to sever the edges so they're all even, right? So I tried to get it as even as I could on the cardstock, right like that. We're going to make 2 of them, one with the gold mirror paper and one with the cream. Then I will work on getting the 2 sides even. I'll probably work on 4 sides, making them even. And I stop now and again to separate all the stash I'm working with so it doesn't get too much. You can tell, look at this. I know I'm changing from one subject to another, but I end up closing in on myself, don't I? You can see, it's just like all my goodies are just coming in. Yes. screaming, use me, use me. Look at that. So there you have it. Then I am going to put that down on this side. This will be the back portion. I'm pretty sure this is the back of the card. You know, it's, what are we in? We're only into a half an hour. We have 2 hours left to go, I think. I think we're into 35 minutes. Whoa. Thank you so much if you're sticking with me. I know it's a long tutorial, but if you have to make a wedding card, you will appreciate the fact that there's little tidbits of really nice info and products that will help you on the way. I didn't want to add any black, so ignore that. I was just going into my stash to see what kind of letters that I had, sticky letters. The name will come to me. You get it at Michael's, all of those. And then I took out the Stampin' Up. I think it's En Français is the name of the stamp. En Français, yes. And this stamp, I remember when it came out from Stampin' Up, I couldn't wait to get it. I think it's the most elegant script stamp on the market so far. That, oh, it slid over there, sorry. I probably fell asleep and fell off my chair. What can I say? Yeah. Oh, well, yes, I'm looking at it. Okay, Carol, you have to come up with a plan here. Let's keep going. Now, what do I want to use that Le Français? I say la, but it's en français script by Stampin' Up. The most beautiful script. I'm going to say it again because I don't even know if they still sell it. I couldn't be without it. Yes, I love it that much. I mean, if you say Victorian or doing shabby chic or doing anything shabby-ish, you need this stamp because the font on it is beautiful. So here we go. Taking another sheet of paper. It just needs to be the size. All right. It's a half a sheet of 8.5 by 11. I cut that off. I'm putting some Versamark. I'm using LDRS Creative. Now you want to really do some compresses on this, like heart compresses, like get right down, stand up and press on there because you can see how hard I did. And believe it or not, a little spot in the center, it must be, you know, when you work with wood stamps, you do have to have that foam underneath. You need some flexibility working with wood. Here I'm doing the gold. Yes, that's the one I spilt, I think. I swung the paper around and off went the embossing powder, but I got it cleaned up. That's okay. And here we go. Now watch this. Don't you love when you're embossing to watch that heat set and that shine come up? Oh yeah, gets me excited just watching myself do it. Yeah, I know, I'm crazy. Yes, I am. But I'm in love with what I do. And I hope that it inspires you in some way when you go to make a wedding card. That you really, you know, we enjoy what we do or we wouldn't do it, right? It's like anything. Here we go. Don't forget your powder. Oh yes, get that powder on there so you don't get any strays. I'm just, you know, baby powder I work with too, either or. The baby powder's beautiful. It gives off a nice smell in the air. And just have a dollar store blush brush to wipe it off and you're on your way. So this is the second one now. You can see I used a larger cardstock. I'm up off my chair and I'm just waiting for that to seep down in there with the watermark, the LDRS. And you can just pour on your Versamark liquid onto any of your Versamark pads. There it is, En Français, Stampin' Up. I missed the size. I think it's 5.5 by 6.5. I'm not sure there. It's a good size. Then we're going to take a piece of paper once again, and we're going to use the gold. Look at that. It's beautiful. There we go. And there's that same spot. I couldn't believe it. But you know what? It isn't bad. You're going to fold these on a triangle because I decided on the left and the right I was going to have a place to put the little envelopes. I did let me see, 14 envelopes for my daughter-in-law. I'll just tell you for Tanya. Hey, Tanya. I did 14 because with little paper in there, and then I used the Stampin' Up! Punch, the doily one, to just put that image on the top center. We'll see that later. Oh yeah, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Look at that. But because we have 2 sheets, we're going to fold them on a triangle slant, one going one way, one going the other. Then there you go. Look at that. Pretty close, eh, of missing the spaces. But that's all right. I knew I was going to fold it, so I'm going to make sure I fold it so each side it covers the empty spot more so, and you won't see it. Is more so a word? I don't know. Oh, here we go. Now on the, you're going to make sure, really, yes, there you go. I put one on top of the other. You want them to be identical. And then you're going to do the fold, then you'll cut it off. You'll see, get this as accurate as you can, right there on each one. And then I decided to have the folder style on the sides, just like that. And then they're perfect when you do this. You get it in on the corner, take your bone folder, get a nice crease, one on the left, one on the right. And this is where I'm telling you, the ball started rolling in my head, and I was on my way of knowing exactly what I was going to do on these 2 sides. I knew the center was going to be my beautiful groom outfit and my beautiful bridal gown inside of acetate, so it looks like a glass frame. I knew that was going to be on the center, so the outside had to be flat, folding in on it. No bulk, you know, very little bulk, let me say that. And yes, I used the tape on this. You know, it depends on what your day's going like, right? Whether you want to just quickly move with it or take your time and put the tape. You have to close it, and let me stress, make sure the print is going in the right direction. I have done that before where it's upside down or inside out. Be very careful, because once you get this thing down, oh yeah, there's no turning back. You would have to cover it. So here we go. I'm making sure that the en français, I'm sorry if all you French people, if I have not said that right, I apologize. But it says en français. There you go. And I'm Canadian. That's my French version. And ATG, because this, I'm confident with the ATG gun. Oh yes. You know, this is for the fold. You need to do all the inside when you fold these together. You can hear me clapping my hands. I'm right into it here. You want to make sure it is secure. Nothing lifts up. Then I'm going to add paper. Even though you're not going to see this paper, this is underneath. But it's like having a beautiful seam, you know, like a dress. You want to have the underneath part beautiful in case, you know, you're sitting down and you see the inside. Same with cards. Even though you don't see it like this, if it ever came up, you know, a little bit, you want to make sure it's clean and beautiful. This is a wedding card. And so I put the cream on the inside of this triangle so that when you slide your hand in, it's nice and smooth. And if it ever came apart, which I always pray before my cards go out, that nothing happens to them, but you don't know. And here I'm going to make sure that it is a nice, clean look on each side, you know, and yeah. And if you put one on top of the other, you get both of them that will measure out fine, so you don't have to worry about it. But when you're in the creating stage, you have to almost, right, here we go, think of everything. That's what I was going to say. So here's my piece for underneath on the inside. I want a nice cream piece. And you know what this gives me? Let's all say it together. Gives me bulk. Gives me that thickness that I love. And then the fold, yeah, that nice fold. Then look at that. Here comes the half moon beautiful dies. I just loved it. Look at that. Just, I don't know. It seems like it was just made for there. So you want to make sure on the top of it, it just hits the paper, that it doesn't go over. You know, it's these little detail things that end up meaning so much in the end. Now, remember, the folded part doesn't have tape on it. Yes, don't put tape because you won't be able to get anything in there. How do I know? I have done it more than once. Got so excited to put something down, and then I glue all 3 sides of the triangle. Well, how am I going to fit anything in there? So I just remember that. Now, I used glue to put this down. I used Nouveau glue, little dots. 5,922 dots. That's how many dots. Did I count them? No, but that's what it seemed like. And if it oozes out, just quickly have a baby wipe and a paper towel. And on this mirror paper, I call it mirror, but it isn't. It's mirror paper. The gold paper that you use, it'll wipe clean. I mean clean. Then dry it. And look at that. Makes my heart race just looking at it. I'm not saying I get excited about making cards. But I do. I do. I can't help myself. So here you can see how at the top of the curve, how nice it is. It's just reaching the edge perfectly because we have that little, you know, vintage thing going on where we distress the edges. I did not want to fold it and put a gusset on it. I wanted it to be tight because in time, paper will expand, believe it or not, in time. So I left it flat, and then I can slide those envelopes. And the envelopes were for the ladies to put their money in, the Gilmore girls. Hey, Gilmore girls, if you went in on this, thank you so much. I'm so happy and pleased that you liked it. Yeah, I talked to a few of you, and thank you so much for all your encouraging words. It was wonderful to hear you like the card, especially if you're going in with my daughter-in-law and having your name in there. And, you know, I gave you a little wee paper folded so you could write to, you know, to the bride. Now, I wanted you to see this quick. Look at that. I did run into a boo-boo. I don't know how it happened, but one of them, I don't know if it was the die. I couldn't figure it out at the time. But one was thicker on the plain side of that half moon. Look at that. Now I put it down anyway. You will see one side, there it is. I must be showing either Tina or Debbie. We talk on FaceTime or FaceTime sometimes when I'm creating. So what I thought I would do, because you can see more of the bottom moon on the right than you can on the left. See, it's crooked. I don't know how that happened because they're all, I don't even question it. I just think, now what can I do to resolve the issue? And I went to my lace stash. Love, this is, ladies, this is why I buy that's a tongue twister, bridal gowns, so that I can get the beadwork off of it. The other stuff I just bought at thrift stores, or Hobby Lobby has a beautiful array of wonderful laces when you go there. Some of that, but I used to make a lot of albums out of lace, so I was able to go to my stash, and I went with a thin, stretchy frill of white. I wanted to bring that white out in there. So this is like a cream white. It's not a bright white. It's like a cream white. It's just so elegant, and it's stretchy. It covers the mistake of having one oval half moon. I'll call it a half moon die there showing. So that's what I'm going to do later. I don't want to do it now. I don't want to get my glue right now. So I have to decide, okay, what am I going to do in the center here with this beautiful LDRS creative die? Makes me drool just looking at it so far. I'm really thrilled with it. Yes. So there you go. What do you think of that? Oh, I'm looking down on it is what I'm doing there, just to make sure everything is aligned and nothing got stuck on the inside. I know I'm a fuss budget, but I can't help myself. As I'm placing the LDRS Creative Heart die down, I realized that this is where I'm going to do the shadow box. I thought that would be a nice element, and because I put the 1-inch spine, I'm going to be able to have that 1-inch bulk to stand out a shadow box. So I thought, all right, I don't want to be pressing down on a shadow box every time I have to create another side of the card. So right there, I'll leave that, I'll fold it over, and I'll work on another side of the card because I do have 6 of them, right? So I don't lack there. I love this embroidery uh, lace, so to speak. It's an applique. It's absolutely beautiful. A lot of it almost looks like a cameo. It's so pretty. And I like doing wedding cards for well, a lot of reasons. I went to Michael's. Yes, I ran to Michael's so that I could get, they only had one of these wedding gowns with accessories, and then I bought the last 2 groom because it's hard to find those. I bought some medium pearls, some mini pearls. I mean, you have to have lots of pearls. I bought some rings. Yeah, and then of course filigree and diamonds, pearls. I mean, if you're doing a wedding card, little tiny little flowers. Here, some diamond bling with hearts, some long diamonds that I could use either end or the center. I needed to put Gilmore Girls, so I decided to do that in pearls. The long strips, I mean, that is, I used that major. It was really a good investment. And I got some of these 2x2 cards, the envelopes, and then we're off and running. Oh yes, here's where the fun begins. Now, working with anything Victorian, anything shabby chic, you have to have pretty corners, right? This is a really nice spellbinder die right here, and I did leave the link to that earlier on. And it is just really pretty. And when you sit down, like, I'm not telling anybody anything they don't already know, because if you're watching this, you either want to make a wedding card or you enjoy my tutorials, which I really appreciate that, and you're already crafting. So, you know, I am just, all my tutorial is to show you that it can be done. And if you have a little bit of time, a bit of patience, you can sit and all these ideas just come to your brain. I don't know how to explain it. When you die cut everything and it's looking right at you, the brain triggers or something to make designs. I don't know. I don't know how to really explain that. Yeah, so my reasoning behind the cards, I put just shy of 2x2 paper, 2x6, folded it in half, and then I got the Martha Stewart doily die, punch, excuse me, and I punched just in the center so that it didn't go off the page of the, you know, where they're going to write. This is where they're going to put their funds for the bride and groom, and they're going to have a little note card so that they can leave a little message, and then they can put their name on the outside of these envelopes so the bride and groom know where the gift is coming from. So I ended up making 14 of them. She needed 10, but you never know. You should always have a few extra, right? Here's some more dies that I was working with. I mentioned this one earlier. I thought I would just do a quick reveal of some of the dies, and this one looks pretty plain but when on the packaging, but once you get this die out, it has a beautiful intricate trim around the edges, and it's just beautiful. And here, I couldn't take it any longer. I'm trying to get it out from the top and it just wouldn't slide out, so I thought, that's it, I'm just cutting down the center and cutting down the sides. What a mess I made. But you know what? It all went back together. That's the beauty of hard plastic, right? So here we go. I'm just checking to see what dye is going to fit the bride and groom outfit. And I love the way the bridal gown, it's so pretty. And at Michael's, I think I paid $10 each. So it was $7.59 plus tax here in Canada, 13%. So close to $10 each. And I think it's well worth it when you're doing a box like I'm doing there. One of the reveal boxes with the acetate. So here we go. I end up taking all the little gut pieces out because it is intricate. And I did want the gold behind it. So what I thought was I'll take out this card creator. It's an A2 card creator that makes perfect size step up, you know, when you're doing, if you don't want to measure each piece, all you do is use this die and it'll give you, I think, 6 or 8 different sizes. So I'm going to need a piece of acetate just a little bigger than this actual die. I love the guts of this. It's so pretty. And I'm not sure if I used, which one of these I did use, or whether I cut another piece. Remember that other card I did? And I ended up cutting the intricate die and all the shaker bits fell out. Well, I didn't have to worry about that in this case because it's an outfit, so nothing's going to fall out. So here we go. I'm just using that wonderful piece of foam. It gets all my guts. This is how, well, not that quick, but it literally falls right off that magnetic foam. It's, honestly, it's incredible. So now I'm going to put my 1/16 of an inch double-sided tape around the die cut. Isn't that a pretty one? It's simplistic, but not. It's so elegant. I really like it. And I guess I was doing this pretty close to real time. I tried to speed up as many, things as I could. And I was thinking of a few people that really love my long tutorials, right, Pam? So many. Debbie, so many people that I can think of that write me comments that enjoy long tutorials. Well, you're in your heyday today, right? I'm hoping to get this up today. I've been doing this voiceover for 2 days now. Today is Saturday, the day of the wedding. And I'm just finishing up the last quarter of this voiceover for you. And the beauty of YouTube, right? You can just scan ahead. You don't have to watch all 2.5 hours of this at all. You'll get the gist of it just scanning through, I'm sure. So here we go. I'm cutting out. I've already run it through the glue machine there, my Xyron, and makes it so easy. You know, even for sizing, to cut it when you have glue on it. If you make it quick, just zoom, zoom. You can pretty well get it cut nice and even. And then I'm sure I'm distressing this piece, so it really doesn't matter on the, edging. But I like to get it as close to being right spot on as I can. There we go. And it's, we're on our way. I thought it was a really good goal. Like if you have a goal to do something, like just to step outside the box and do something totally out of your element, this style card, a wedding card, is something you can do like that. It has all the feminine features, yet, it's for the bride and groom, but you get all of that feminine stuff on here because it is a bridal card, they call it. I call it a wedding card, a bridal card. And I think the bride generally keeps these things as keepsakes. I kept my bridal keepsakes. So, here we go down through the Xyron. Quick, easy peasy. I wanted to have another layer stacked on top of this in white. Remembering that the main theme was she wanted more white than cream. Just a little bit more white than cream. So I doubled up I actually tripled up on all of the dies because I just get little sandwich baggies and I put the rest of, like all the rest of the pieces that were cut in there, and I certainly will use them on another project, that's for sure. So, and not much. Once I did the box, I did the box just while I'm doing the corners here. Isn't it pretty? I did the 2L edges in, you can see the upper right, lower left, and the cream, and then I did the 2 antique corners, upper, lower right, upper left. And it's soft. It doesn't scream off the page. It's nice and soft. And I wasn't quite sure exactly what was going to happen here, but I always say if you build up your card first, and you watch it being built, all of these ideas will just flood your mind. It truly will. Because card makers, we're artistic. We have that mindset that we want to create around an empty space, you know. That's why we do well with cards and canvases and anything with a blank page or surface. We can see past the blank piece, you know, just like painters. You wonder how they can go out there and just paint something right out of the blue. It's because the mind can see past a blank page. And you know, I'm thankful for that, because it would be a really boring card for the bride to get if I couldn't think past an empty page, right? Oh yeah. Oh, I had a big breakfast this morning. I got up, made my husband and I cheese, tomato, green pepper, onion, omelet, Canadian bacon, and toast. I was going to make home fries, but we held back. Yeah. So Saturdays are nice for a nice big breakfast, isn't it? For some reason. I was telling my husband today, why is it Saturdays? Monday to Friday, I can get up, zoom through my housework, get everything done early, get up nice and early. But Saturdays, it's just like, okay, come on, what am I going to do? I don't know if it's the word Saturday. I don't know what it is, but I tell you what, I was moving slow, but I was thankful I had this voiceover to do. So I rushed through. We had a big breakfast. My husband left, and because he knew I wanted to do this voiceover to keep it nice and quiet in here. Not that he's not quiet, but, you know, I just need to have the place to myself. Yeah. Okay, here we go. I love this Impression Obsession die. It has the bauble things on there, but it has this filigree that I absolutely love. I left the link for that as well, or I showed it to you on the top of the pages. And if you need filigree, this is a lovely die because you get the ornament baubles. I called them boggles. And my friend told me, Carol, it's not boggles, it's baubles. You know, it's not boggle your mind. It's not bauble, it's bauble. Okay, if I keep saying it enough, I won't know what it is. So anyway, I call it filigree. And here is that Gothic page up there that I had. I mean, there's nothing Gothic on that. It's absolutely stunning. And yeah, so here we go. I am going to share something. If you have a project, okay, and you need a light pink ink, the most beautiful pink ink on this planet of any pinks, and I've tried them all. I probably have them all in my craft room, but, well, I don't, of course. Come on, Carol, you don't have them all. But I have quite a few, and you know how I feel about high LDRS hybrid inks, but the oxide inks are up there as well. Oh yeah, my heart is just pacing here as I put this beautiful pink oxide ink on the filigree, just dabbing it here and there, leaving a little bit of, I did filigree white, filigree cream, and dabbed this beautiful, the best pink ever in my book, yes. And it is the spun sugar. I even say the best ink ever. But look at, it's that, it reminds me of a baby shower for a little girl, that pink, you know. I had all boys, but I tell you what, I've got a lot of granddaughters, and this pink to me is the ultimate for bride card. If you have to add pink, have that one in your stash if you don't have anything else. The spun sugar oxide. Beautiful. Now, I left this in the edit. Oh, okay. I must have been really tired. I get out some baby elastics. I cut this veil. I had a veil, and in the veil, the little pearls were already inset in the actual veil material. I don't know why that skipped my mind there, what that is. Crinoline, kind of like a mild crinoline. Okay, I tied it up, as you can see, so that it would fan out. And guess what I put to hold it down? You got it. Hot glue. Okay. Elastics and hot glue don't go together. That thing, when it hit the hot glue, it went boing. It went everywhere. And my daughter-in-law was standing there as I was doing this. She came upstairs just to see, you know, what I was doing, how far I had gotten. I'm putting hot glue behind each pearl, a little dab behind the pearls. The pearls that I don't want to be standing up and floating. And when that did that, I'm telling you, did we have a laugh? I was thinking to myself, she's probably thinking, does she know what she's doing? She just put hot glue on an elastic. Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing there. My brain, it was gone. It was just like, yeah. So I thought, okay, lesson learned. Don't use elastics and hot glue. It's, you know, I only have to once or twice, make the mistake once or twice, and around the third time, I get it. I won't do it again. But anywho, yeah, so now I'm just making it nice and even, and you're kind of joining me for, isn't that pretty? Oh, it's so pretty. I just loved, oh, by the way, this is the front page. Did I say that? We're now creating the floral portion. I made, out of the heart spellbinder die, there's a rose die. It's so easy peasy. And then I picked out from my stash 5 or 6 roses, 1 large one and 4 small ones out of this set. I had bright red. These are made of paper as well. They're paper roses. And I picked out the antique cream there, antique white, I think it's called. I'm going back to my wonderful oxide pink, spun sugar, dipping it right in there. Boink, boink, right in the ink on the top. Then I got a paintbrush, put that green stem, because it's made of wire, going around and around and around and around the narrow paintbrush top. And you have that spiral. I just think it's beautiful. I just love this look. So when I got the small roses, they were already made. I think these are I Am roses that I've had forever. I have a trunk, and I open it up, and the trunk has another trunk kind of on the inside, like it's really different. So it has a takeout portion. I put all my small roses on that ledge, and I can take it out, and then all in the bottom I have the larger bags. So it makes it nice and easy to grab what I need in that capacity, you know. Sometimes organization is good. There's that big one. So I decided to put the big one on the top and then put the smaller ones pointing out, because you want to have, you know, pick a direction you're going to go. And generally I do upper left, lower right when I do flowers. Then I set them down. Don't glue all of them at once. Put your filigree down, but you need to put your flowers, just using the end of the paintbrush there to dab down the glue. In case it oozes, I can get it off. So kind of get a vision. And once you have the vision, see how I put the cream heart there? Because all of those filigree pieces were overlapping, so I wanted to cover that. And now that I have a little bit of the filigree down, I have that beautiful fan of the crinoline material and pearls underneath. I have the main rose at the top. Now I will work with the glue gun. And you can use liquid glue here, either or. I'm comfortable with this little blue detailed hot glue gun. So I've been using this for a long time, and we are just, we just work well together. We're friends. Yeah. And I'm kind of going, okay, how am I going to do this? Woo, let's see. And there we go, gone. It was there, then it was gone. You can see I added another heart there to the left, right? Not the left, not the right, left. The left, right? Yeah. And thank you. I want to thank you for joining me this morning. I love having you in my craft room. I love spending time with you. I love your comments telling me what you enjoyed or what your thoughts were that I could have improved it in some way or changed it up in some way. I love to hear that, because then when I make future cards, I'll know some different ideas to use. And here we go. I'm just thinking, okay, you pink and cream and white, the beautiful filigree. And this is from that one Impression Obsession set. So I'll leave that certainly on my blog. So there you go. You can see it's the front. And I had that Heartfelt Creation edges I put on the right and on the left, one on the right, one on the left there. I've already glued that down. I use liquid glue for those, for the white, I don't like to, borders, that's what they are. They're white borders. So I thought, I could have hurried this up, but I thought maybe you'd like to see, if you like to do floral arrangements, it's nice to see how you would set it, and how I do. I mean, this isn't any, down pat explanation of it. I keep dabbing the pink oxide ink too onto the flowers. I do want to have the roses. See, there we go. Oh, I tell you what, I just love the front of floral cards, any cards that I see, especially bridal cards. Something about bridal cards and baby girl shower cards that you really get to go crazy in decorating it. I also have a fan of the crinoline with the pearls on the bottom portion. I don't know if you saw me put that on. So I'm working with one in the top, one in the bottom. And because it is crinoline, yeah, I'm just showing you up and down. Now I will spread it out. Once I have the direction down, oh yeah, let's go and make a rose. And I'm sorry, you know what? I didn't get this in the film for some reason, because I sit back from my island and sometimes I forget I'm making stuff and I don't look up in the camcorder to see where I am. But this is self-explanatory. You cut the die of roses. You get 3 sizes: large, medium, petals, small. You spray them with water so that they're manageable. And then you start with the smallest one to make your inside petal, the little bud on the inside. And then you crisscross all the rest of the buds, folding them down, and they overlap. You'll see this, overlap it. Just as soon as I get that on, I hope I put it up in the camera. I think I did. Just keep overlapping. And you go from small to large. That's how I do it. I work from the small to the medium and then the large, always overlapping the petals. And then I will squirt some liquid glue. I hold it there because it's wet. I hold it down with the hot glue. But you're going to need to put liquid glue as well. See how I do that? I squirt it right in there and hold that. This die, and it's a small rose die, you can see on the top there, you get all the portions you need. You get the underneath of the rose, you get the rose buds. Makes a perfect rose. It's really inexpensive, and I have quite a few dies to make roses, and this is my favorite. I do have the twirly ones, but this little number here It's a small die set, affordable, and look at that. Does that not look real? It has all the little crooks and crannies in it that roses have. They're just a beautiful flower, just a beautiful flower. Yeah, I get that up there. And as long as you're overlapping the petals and you're working small, medium to large, you can't make a mistake. You truly can't. You make sure it's damp, spray it, not too wet because then, you know, the hot glue is not going to stick it. But as soon as you have it down there and you're holding it, slide some liquid Nouveau glue, white glue, whatever you love to work with, down inside there and work back and forth. Hot glue, liquid glue, hot glue, liquid glue. And when you're satisfied with the size, you stop. Then you put these under spines on it. I don't know what they call it underneath the rose. It's kind of like a spine thingy, a spine thingy. And you put that on there. And this is a realistic looking rose in my book. And it's satisfying to do. It's not frustrating at all. You have all the petals to work with. And I do like, I like to make my own spirals and make a rose, you know, jiggity, jaggedy, jiggity, jaggedy with your scissors and then spiral it. But nothing comes out as beautiful as this rose right there. Yeah. And then you just cut it off to the height you want. If you don't want it seated up that high, just chomp it off on the bottom. Here I'm adding a good gob. Now, I'm going to give you another suggestion here as while I'm thinking about it. I think I show you here. When you have a hot glue gun, you'll notice if you're working with a lot of time, see that spider vein thing of the hot glue on the left there when the light hit it? But I get all those goobers off at the end. I go through with my pokey tool, make sure there's no glue spiders anywhere. And now I can work with the liquid glue to hold it down where I want it. And once it's dry, I can bend those beautiful rose not leaves, buds, leaves, whatever they're not leaves, petals. But I want to tell you about the glue gun. It will burn. I love this part of it. I love this part of the rose. And that's included in this little die. It's just a small die. And you can just make these roses sitting there. I bet you could do 50 of them in a couple of hours. Look at that. Does that not look real? You go all the way around your rose. You can sit there, have my Coca-Cola, just designing. It's so pretty. But let's get back to the hot glue gun. It gets that discolored. The glue gets discolored. And when I see that happen, I just go off to the glass mat or whatever you have. If you have some silicone you're working with to make your flowers, whatever. I really do like the glass mat for the making of the flowers because the glue comes right off the glass. So I will squirt out a gob of the glue when it's turning yellow until I get it white again. You don't want to see yellow hot glue at all. Not at all. So when I see that, because I'm sitting and creating this all day long. So obviously sometimes I don't think to put it off and then turn it back on again. I just leave it on. So it will burn the glue. So that's what I do. I just squirt out the hot yellow glue, put another tube in if I have to of glue, and move forward. So here we go, sticking some of this is going to stick, right? You've got hot glue, you've got liquid glue, your pokey tool is helping you out, get it right down into the crannies, and there you have it. Now I'm going to add the gold and silver. Because I have gold and silver on the inside of my card, I wanted to add it to the outside. These are the Tim Holtz roses. They're ceramic roses. They come in 3 sizes at Michael's. So I'm glad I picked a couple of boxes of those up because they do come in handy. They're a pretty, pretty rose. And look at that. I get the gold, I get the silver, I get the roses, and then I'll work with the pearls. See, that's why I told you I buy the wedding dresses and I take off all of the beautiful beadwork. And then when I make a wedding card, I have all the beadwork I'm going to need. I made this little rose, that little tiny one right there. And look at how I just took that right off. That's an I Am Roses rose, but I ripped it off the right side there. It didn't go. It wasn't made for there. So I'll cover that green up, no problem. And I'm going to add some pearls. I'm going to add some diamonds. Here's a paper butterfly. It's made of paper with a pearl long body on it. So it fit perfectly. So I slid that in there, add some pink to the wings. So crazy pretty. And here's where you get your bulk as you're coming down on the flower. So you want the middle portion to have that beautiful bulk, and then just stem out to a nice point on the upper and the lower end of your flowers. Isn't that awesome? And oh, I put the hummingbird at the top. I put two of them, one on top of the other, so we had two wings on there, right in the middle. So pretty. I didn't have a dove, but I did have a dyed hummingbird in that one set. Now, here's what I'm talking about. I had this little number here where you just die cut it and you go around and around and around and around and around. Well, that wasn't working out for me at the time, but I set it over to the side because I end up using it. And here I'm going through, I had this beautiful spray that I got at Michael's in the wedding section. It is twirled wire right there, see it? It has twirled silver wire with the beautiful teardrop glass beads on the end of it. And I put one onto the left and one to the right underneath there, alongside the veil material with the pearls. Then I'll take my applicator and I'll pounce over whatever areas I want to be a little more pink. And yeah, and here's a tiny little bud I made out of that twirly thing. See it? Tiny, tiny, tiny. And I fit it in there. I think it's just like 3 little twirls and you have yourself a bud. And here's a little spray I don't use. Do I use that? I think I might have used a little piece of it somewhere, just one little piece. And it's so funny, if you had saw my craft room at the time I was doing this, with all my baskets of lace and borders and trims and you know, dyes and yada yada, I was totally in my element. I really felt comfortable. I was having a blast because now the front of this card is taking on its own personality. And that's what I like. And then we're going to get those pearls out. And see that little flower? That's in the vine set. The flower on the lower center. I put that there. The bow, excuse me, it's a bow. And then I added another silver, and it's kind of like a daisy, but I'm telling you, it's so feathery light, this can. I always see them at Michael's, this can of flowers, always. And they're really nice to have if you want to add silver or gold, or both together like I did. I added another rose to the mix. Now, I put this with 2 gold at the top. That comes off. That is too bold. It is, yeah. I take it off, and then I go and I shove it way down in, so only the peaks of the end of the petals are sticking out. You don't want a different style flower, really big, to overextend that beautiful rose there at the top. And one of the roses, the I Am roses, they're lying kind of flat on their side, but my roses are almost peaked straight up. And that's the difference of the ones I made and the ones I didn't. Now, I'm taking white seam binding, going through that beautiful pink oxide ink to make my own ribbon. And I just do 4, it ends up 4 loops, 4 on one side. And I tie it in a knot to make it, I just tie around it in a knot. Then I'm trying to figure out, okay, do I want to make a stick pin? So I stuck a stick pin there. Can you believe, with the teapot? I had such a laugh with my friend. She said, "You're not putting a teapot on a bridal gown." I said, no. No, of course I'm not. But I wanted to see what a pin looked like. But I did end up putting a stick pin on here. but I used pink and white and diamondy pearls all on the stick pin. So here we go. This is a little snippet off of the wedding gown material I have of pearls, floral pearls. You'll see that at the end. I show it this pretty close up at the end. It has little pearls on it, so if you're cutting applique from a dress or something, make sure you put the glue underneath the pearls, because they can have a tendency of the threads getting loose and you're going to be picking up the pearls. So yeah, here comes another flower. You want to face some downward and some upward. That makes a nice flower spray to me. You know, in my eye, it looks really nice. Then you can set it aside. You don't have to work on this all the time. You know, you can set it aside, look over there, and maybe you'll see something in your stash that you want to use. And that's what I did. There's another piece of the cutout applique that I had. It was a little floral. I end up using these florals for the inside pages as well. They're just yummy. I just love them because they have the crinoline on it material. They have the beautiful beadwork. Oh my. Every time I cut into one of my bridal gowns, I often think of all the work somebody went to make this beautiful wedding gown, you know. But at the same time, I buy them and I am able to make other people happy by recreating with them and using them up so they're just not sitting and getting yellow at some thrift store. You know, nobody's using it. I put them in Ziploc bags, like when you take it to the dry cleaner, those type of zipped up bags, and I store them. Now there's the difference between the medium and the mini pearls. The large pearls don't work. It takes away from the actual flower bouquet there. So I put on here, I'm pretty sure these are the medium. Now let me just see. I'm sorry, they're the mini. I do mini pearls all the way across the bottom portion here, just to give it that little something something. Another reminder that I do when I put pearls down to keep them in place, even though they have sticky on the back, they don't always stick. So I take either glossy accents, or my favorite now is the Nouveau Crystal Drops, because it's a liquid form of glossy accents, more liquidy, and it will set. Just put a little drop, let it seep down the pearl, just a small amount, and it will go around the edges, securing your pearls to your project. So I have done that for a long time. You know, I used to use glossy accents, but now I find the Nouveau Crystal Drops in clear just perfect for securing any type of pearl or, you know, tiny element. How's that? So here is a pearl and lace trim I had, and I'm putting it along the spine on either side because it matches so perfectly. You have the cream white pearl, it's an antique white pearl and an antique white lace, and this came off of a bridal gown. So I have yards and yards and yards of it, and it comes in handy for putting down, if you're making albums, to run down the spine of your album. Then I go around and I just make sure everything, you know, slide. I work a lot of the time, let me jump in there with the pokey tool, because then I can tell whether anything has lifted up by just sliding my pokey tool around and see if I notice anything that I didn't glue down properly or that's lifting up. Here I need to put this is, let me just say, yes, I'm going to put it on here. And you know what? Your glue dries quickly, so put about an inch at a time. That's my suggestion. And isn't that a pretty trim? I just love this. And that's the beauty of getting these older wedding gowns. You know, the ones with the tons and tons of lace applique and satin, and you get it all. And you know, sometimes I can get those bridal gowns for $25. You know, $50, and if you go and price things at Hobby Lobby or anywhere where you go to find trim, that is a savings to look for bridal gowns and then just sit. I put mine on a dress form. I put them out just like they're a beautiful bridal gown. And as I cut off the pieces, I start at the back of my bridal gown, so you know it makes a beautiful display in my spare room. And then when it gets too shabby looking and it won't stand itself onto the dress form, I take it off and put a new one up. Yeah, because when I can get a deal on a bridal gown with lots of lace and applique and bead work for $25, yeah, I'm scooping it up. And then I just put it away like I said. And the bags that I use are those zipped up bags where you buy comforters. I saved those over the years, the comforter bags. Yeah, I'm trying to be more of a minimalist now, but you know, I always thought I'd be able to use them for some type of storage, and sure enough, I put my bridal gowns in there, and I always have one on a dress form to cut from. And a lot of them, if they have big flowers on them or something like that, or big bulk beadwork, I cut it off before I put it away, and I put it in a separate zip bag. So, you know, you can always make it work, right? So here we go. Hello. Yes. So we're back on this side. This is where I'm going to put the shadow box with the bride and groom inside. I'm going to raise it up 3 times with the Doris thin strip double-sided foam. Now the pearls. Oh yes, I added pearls around the edges, and these are the pearls that came in that 3 pearl strip. I had 3 sections, so you get 9 12-inch strips of pearls. Perfect. Look at that. They're aligned perfectly. So I'm going to glue those down, and that's from one sheet that I bought for $10 at Michael's. It has 9 strips of 12-inch, I'm trying to think, yeah, 12 inches of pearls, and you just have to cut it off. It's amazing. And yeah, get it as straight as you can. And like I said, I will take my Nuvo crystal drops and just add a little drop here and there. When it's a long strip, just add it to every other one to make sure it's, because that will hold down the one beside it. And isn't that pretty? Oh, I just find the beautiful French script in gold, the gold half moon die, that beautiful vintage border. And then I'm going to use the frill and put that going down the side to make it look even more feminine. And here we go. Just thinking, okay, do I start this? This is the box now. This is the shadow box. So that's going to be next, possibly. We shall see what I'm doing here. Oh, I'm seating down that gorgeous stretchy trim. You know what it is? The bottom portion is velvet, the stretchy part, the material, and the frill is satin. Oh, just running your hand down this is wonderful. It has the most beautiful texture. And don't you find with artists like ourselves, I love to feel material. I like to get into what I'm working with, you know. It just brings everything alive to me. Fabric is very important if you're doing a card, to know what to put beside each other. You know, you don't want to put a burlap beside a satin. Well, sometimes that works. I shouldn't say that. I've done that before. Yeah, but you know, I like to feel the different materials just to see what it adds, you know, because that adds a little bit of ambiance to your card as well. And look at that. Now it hides any imperfection. And this trim would be awesome. If I had thought of this before I already tacked it down, I would have taken my sewing machine with the gold thread and I would have sewn this down, the slant with gold thread, and I would have used a loop stitch. Oh, that would have looked dreamy. But I didn't think of it. So, you know, this is what they're going to get. And here we go. It's Felice and Stacy. I'm pretty sure that's the bride and groom. And I know that they will probably be watching this tutorial, so I want to send out my congratulations on their wedding day today. Here we go. I'm putting 2 roses from the Tim Holtz ceramic rose collection there. Comes in small, medium, and large, and it's hanging at Michael's. Beautiful. And you know what? They're different colored. So you have a light, cream, medium, and a dark. So that's always nice. You have something to work with when you're sitting it down. And these are the small roses I'm putting on the edges, just to add a finishing touch to the edge. And now the cards will be able to slide in on each side of that slant. Or I told my daughter-in-law Tanya, you could just put it inside the box, all of the cards with the money and the congratulations note inside the envelope. So I'm a happy camper here. I'm going to put it away, but I do end up using it again. There we go. I'm just getting out the envelopes to see that I didn't seal it down, that I could slide the envelopes, that I didn't glue down my sides. Yeah, I've done that before. Yeah, it's no stranger to my craft room for me to sew things where I needed to have. Now here, I love this thing. I have to make sure that I give a shout out. It is called Faber-Castell Texture Gems. This is made for those little drops on your roses. It dries the same as Nouveau Crystal drops, but you can get this at Michael's. And it's Faber-Castell Texture Gems on it. And it's in this tube, and it makes that watery look, little dewdrops on your roses. You have to have this in your stash. I'm telling you, use your coupon and you pay next to nothing for this. And this one, I have 2 of these. One, I haven't even gone down a third, and I've used it forever, okay? Forever. It lasts forever, yeah. Then I'll go back and, you know, if they're not small enough, I like to put 3 different size dewdrops. Small, teensy mini, then small, then medium. And I go on all the little petals that are turned down. Put the little dew on it. There it is there. Faber-Castell Texture Gem. I have to tell you that if you do any floral things, it dries almost, I'd say, give it 3 to 5 minutes and it's perfectly dry. Set it aside, and then you can work. I had some glass pearls. I had some diamond round pearls. So here we go. This is a stack I've had in my stash forever. It's a Michael stash. We are memory keepers. Or I could have got it at our Walmart. So I took out that gorgeous heart, the gold and cream heart. And our Michael's has beautiful section for crafters. Or I'm sorry, Walmart. Boom, here we go. I am measuring this so that I know how I have to cut that, because this is going to be the backdrop when I put the box on there. Yes, so with the bride and groom in it. It's amazing how you forget things from one thing to another. Shadow box, when I make the shadow box. It's funny because I have a shadow box right over there that I change up the cards on the inside just to encourage me. Some of my cards I've made and didn't give away, I put it in my shadow box with a little tack. And that way I can look at it and get some inspiration, and keeps me going. So here we go. I measured it. I'm going to distress the edges again, of course. I'm going to put it down and look at that. I tell you what, creating, oh yeah, here I go. What am I going to do? I'm going to grab my distress tool. And if you don't have a Tim Holtz distress tool or any type, the scissors work perfectly. If you want a real distressed look, use your scissors, because that gives it a beautiful distressed look. If you want a light one, okay, here we go. There's the shadow box. Then I need to have the gold underneath, yes. And then I need to have a piece of acetate. Then I need to lift it up so that it looks like an actual glass shadow box. And here's the die I used right there. I remember getting these Spellbinder dies. They had a 50% and 60% off about 3 years ago online. I went nuts. Oh, I gotta have a sip. There we go. I'll take a sip right now. There we are. Here we go. Oh, yeah. And thank you for letting me do that. Yeah, so anyway, I just went crazy because some of them were 80% off. And I bought out just about everything that was on there, I tell you what. Because if you can get 60 to 80% off Spellbinder dies, you have to grab it if you can. So here's the die cut that was the second die to this set. I'm just taking out a little bit. You don't have to take all the guts out. I just need to have this underneath the main one. You're not going to see this one, see? You're not going to see it. You might see the corners, but the grooms or the bride and the groom outfit are going to be on top of this. ATG coming out. Go right over top of the holes with your ATG. It will secure it from anything falling apart. So that's another little tidbit I'll throw in there. There we are. Put that down. Isn't it pretty so far? Oh, yes. And, you know, when I was at Michael's and I saw I was going there to get the pearls and the diamonds and all that bling bling. And when I saw that bride and groom outfit, and it has the stockings, it has the purse, it has I put the ring in there on the other side. What did it have in there? It had the veil. It was wonderful. And where are you going to get a groom outfit? They're hard to find. I have looked for these. There was only 2 of them left, so I grabbed both. Because I can always make a wedding dress out of my bling bling, my bridal stuff, you know. You can make a little dress. That's nothing. But to make a groom outfit, you know, is a different task. So this was wonderful. So I end up having a spare one of those. And yeah, sometimes it's worth just getting, if it's there, to get it, because, you know, it doesn't last long, especially for wedding cards, right? And you can see how it fit perfectly in here. Oh, it had the beautiful shoes too. Wait till you see where I put that. It's beauteous. So I just go over this with my ATG gun on the back of the gold, set it down on the acetate. You know, I buy book cover acetate because it's thicker. It looks like glass. It really does, because it's a thick acetate. And I get them at the stationery store, and they're called book covers in acetate. So I'll try to find those for you. I always forget about it, but I'm going to really try. If you're going to make a shadow box, the book cover acetate, even shakers, it's very affordable. I think you get 100 to a box. And yeah. So here we go. Look at that. And then I took out the Doris strips, the really thin ones, because you don't want to see through. But another thing I did, I piled it 3 high with the Doris. I'm just going to grab a bag here. There are 33 pieces. That you get 33 strips, 1/4 inches in across, like 1/4 inches deep, and 3 3/4 inches long. Okay, so I stacked them 3 high. Now, one thing about raising something up, always remember that the recipient can see in the sides of the box, right? You don't want to see the strips, you know, 3 layers high strips. So I took those, oh yeah, here we go. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, look at, I've already started. Those thin strips. I'm going to leave a link. They're the best double-sided adhesive strips because you don't have to cut the Scotch roll so thin. They're already thin. I did these 3 high, so it has that nice depth, because we gave ourselves an inch on the inside of this, right, when we put the borders down. So we're in good shape here. So I took the pearls and I went around the medium. They're medium pearls on that strip, that 12-inch strip, and I went down inside of these Doris strips. So when you look in the light, those pearls shine through beautifully. Oh, I can't even tell you in person how real this shadow box looks. It looks like a glass, it looks like my glass shadow box over there, actually. just gorgeous. And then the pearls hide the Doris strips down the edging, and it looks professional and clean, detailed, and well thought out. I think the bride will just love any creation with a shadow box like this. And every time I'm in Michael's now, or Hobby Lobby, Joann's in the States, we don't have a Hobby Lobby or Joann's here in Canada, but every time I'm in there now, I am looking for bride and groom outfits, and I'm going to pick them up because, well, I'm going to buy them. I'm not going to pick them up. That didn't sound good, did it? I'm just going to pick them up. No, I'm going to buy them. And yeah, and have them in my stash. Look at, oh, yes. And then I got to put the pearls in there. And I'd use the liquid glue. And then I go around the edges. I think I might use the hot glue and then go around the edges with liquid, but I do use both. I'm just taking that off. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. I just got an email. I apologize, but I'm going to keep talking because it happens in every one of my tutorials. I had the phone either rings and I have to stop because it's so loud, or else I get a notice. Oh, here's another trim that I had in my stash. And I thought to myself, okay, that's kind of dark, but it is thin, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it when I put it down because I was going to cover the sides of the strip. I'll show you here. But I did not like, isn't that pretty? That matches actually, it almost looks identical to the pattern in the die of this gold strip, but I didn't use that. Out come the pearls. See how the backing on the strip of pearls? This is at Michael's. You get three-tier strips of 12-inch pearls. They're hanging where all the diamonds and bling bling pearls are. Yeah, I think I bought 3 packs, and I'm going to go back and get some more when I'm there again. I'm not going to make a special trip, but I need to have this in my stash. I wish I had have bought more because, you know, they're perfectly aligned. They're sticky. See how you see the pearls in there? Oh, and they match the Doris white strips. That's a bonus. Yes. So I had to add one more little diamond or pearl in there because I was short a pearl. So I just cut it off and put it in there. Then I need to put, oh yes, make sure you take any kind of lint or anything off the inside before you honk that down. There we go. Then I'll go over, I already put the liquid glue on top of the glue. Nice dots all the way around the Doris strip so that it's double secured right there. Then I will add the pearl strips to the outside. So you have that. And now I'm going to add some, oh yes, there was a little piece of lint I had to slide in there and get it out. Just a tiny piece. And here's the veil. There's the veil, the stockings, the purse, the shoes. Oh, what a cutesy little set. Then we're going to get out some diamond bling and put it along the side. I love this diamond bling stuff now that you get in the packages like this. Look at that. I mean, it'll last you for a while. The only trouble is it's so crazy expensive, you know. I think this was, I think everything was $7.49, $7.49, $7.49, $10.49, you know. And I always get something bigger if I'm going to use my coupons. So I ended up getting the Xyron refill because it was $50. The Xyron refill, the big one. So I used my coupon on that. And there's some beautiful bling. One on one side of diamonds, because going across the wedding gown at the top there is a little strand of diamonds that almost look identical to the filigree. Then you want to get a ruler, okay, and measure. If you can measure by the hearts as well, but I always take it and I put it across there to make sure I'm spot on. Something about a wedding card and detail, you want to be perfected in what you do. Even if it's vintage or shabby chic, there's some things you want to make sure that they are even, because the eye will catch that. And look at that shadow box. Yeah. Then I'll put the pearls around the inside and, you know, the outside. So I'll have pearls on the inside, pearls on the outside. I don't want to get too yucky on the same subject, but I'm really happy. And then as I'm looking at it, I thought, wow, I can put the Gilmore Girls down the spine on the right and the left of this gorgeous shadow box with the pearls. They worked out perfect. Then I'll put the diamonds on the space that's left. You'll see how I do that when we get to it. And I am really thankful that you have made it this far. We're almost getting down to the deadline of being finished, and I sure do appreciate you being here. Words can't explain how grateful I am. I think it's just a blessing for me to be able to share things on my YouTube channel like this. Now the spine having that 1 inch, when you open the 2 flaps of this card, when the bride and groom open it up and you see the nursing staff, Gilmore Girls on there, that they can have, the Gilmore Girls can have that memory that they were actually a part of this card and given to their friends, the bride and groom here, Felice and Stacy. And can you get any better? But make sure when you're buying alphabet letters of any kind, you double up on it. Count out what you need, because, you know, some names are different and you may need 3 vowels instead of, you know, 2. So keep that in mind when you're buying letters. And these letters that Michael's in, the pearls, I have a smaller set. I used to be addicted to buying these thickers, you know, and all kinds of things, but I didn't have this size. So I bought these ones and I bought 2 sets and it worked out perfect. And then I'm just eyeballing it. I'm just going down, checking it out, starting at the top of this one. And yeah, don't press it down too much, but you have that, you know, full inch that you're working with. And it's wonderful to have an inch, because what better space to put a shadow box in, right? And then I think that diamond filigree on both sides with the hearts there, it doesn't stand off too much. And it kind of draws your eye to the beautiful diamonds in the bridal gown. You know, there's also little diamonds on the sleeves on the top there. So I have Gilmore, then I put girls centered, and I cut off this bling from the long 3 diamond bling set right here. And boy, this is going to work. Look at that. It's beauteous. I put 1 on the bottom there and on the top and the bottom of girls. And there you have the inside. I mean, it just takes my breath away. I love it. I think the bride is just going to love it. She's going to have her little gift envelopes. There's the front. You open it up and wow, this is a wedding card, isn't it? Now we're going to turn it over, and directly behind this we're going to need to work on. Now always remember that the back side generally is the side that's going to be placed on a table. You know, when they're finished looking at it and they don't have it upright, they're going to put it down. So you want to make sure you don't do any of your bulk on the back side. So this vine die and the LDRS Creative Heart die, this die by LDRS Creative is a must. It's so affordable. It's Teflon coated. I tell you that all the time. I'm going to send you over, because there you can get a die set, a large die set from LDRS Creative. And when Angie has sales, they go $30 die sets you can get for $2.50 sometimes. I'm talking, her sales are sales. You have to go and check it out. So anyway, I'll get off of that because it's all about the design of this card. I just get so excited about Spellbinder dies and of course the gorgeous LDRS Creative dies. And check Angie out on HSN. You should see the dies she has coming out. I have to put that in there. Of course, as a designer for LDRS, I do have to tell you that they are, yep, look at that. We cut some of the filigree off of the inside of the actual die, and we had enough to fill in by breaking it in half and spreading it out. So I'm thinking to myself, do I want to have pink behind there? Now this is, you can see I got a bit of my pop on it. Yeah, I didn't go with that. I went, I'm pretty sure I went with the gold, but you're going to like what I did on the back portion. I know you are. If you just do a card alone, a Christmas card, we're using these vines, this one vine die and the LDRS Creative Heart die. It speaks for itself when you see the design. So here's what I did. Take one portion, dot out the glue. I use Nuvo glue. You can use whatever white glue you like. Put little tiny dots on it. Clean off your mirror paper and do a quick hand pat like this. Then let it dry. Don't do too much wiping. You don't want to spread that glue right off the bat. And if you do, pat it with a baby wipe or a paper towel. But the baby wipe does take things off this mirror card. Now it's M-I-R-R-I. I can't believe that. I always want to say mirror because you can see yourself. Then I'll go around with the wonderful pokey tool and take out any oozing glue. Oh yeah. Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? Even my doggy says it's terrible to have that glue oozing out. Yeah, and then you're going to dot the underneath part. You can create a beautiful card with just these two dies. The vine die and the divine heart die by LDRS Creative. Multiple imagery you can put on cards using just these two dies. But for now, we're working with the card for, this is a baby wipe, by the way. I get my baby wipes at Costco because I did a tutorial on it. They're larger and they're not as soppy wet as you do if you get them at the dollar store. You know, my dollar store where nothing's $1. And they're always really wet. Now, for some jobs, if you use it to tidy up your bathroom or whatever, wet's good. But when you're working in the craft industry, you don't want soppy wet. And Costco baby wipes, and you get the box. Oh, here it is, Stampin' Up! 40-pound vellum. Oh, you can see through it, but you can't see through it, okay? It gives it that beautiful, dreamy, that's the word, dreamy look. It cuts out that sharp gold mirror look, you know, on the other side, it is, the word is dreamy romantic. Well, actually, that's two words, right? Dreamy romantic. I love it. So when I put it down, I didn't like the distressed edges. So let's just mark it off, cut another piece out, and we're going to put that down. Look at that. See the difference, you know? What a difference a day makes. What a difference it is to take another sip of my Coca-Cola, right? But here we go. I have that light hanging down. I do apologize. I moved that light right out of the way so it wouldn't happen again. Oh, here we're getting back to the distressed edges. I did the vellum. Vellum's hard to distress because it gets caught in these nicks that you make and it ends up tearing. Now, it looks good on some things, but not the crisp edge of the mirror paper. There's the Ben Fang calligraphy acetate. Not acetate, I'm so sorry, vellum that I get at the stationery store. But I liked the Stampin' Up! Much better. So let's move right along, and we're going to take that out, recut another piece of the Stampin' Up! 40-pound vellum. It is a nice thick vellum. I'm sorry, there comes another email. It is a beautiful thick vellum, and you're going to love it. I think it comes in a package of 25 if you order. It's been a long time since I ordered it, but I used to, about 5 years ago, buy Stampin' Up! And then I was a demonstrator for a little bit, and then when I found out there's more stamping products out there, I decided to not be a demonstrator, but I do still like some of their supplies, and this is one of them. the Stampin' Up! Vellum because of the 40-pound weight. You know, like I like things weighty. Now, here's the mini dots I got at Michael's. This is the micro mini glue dots. This is going to take a little bit of time, my friends, but it's worth the time. You take those micro mini dots, not glue, not anything else. Just seat them first. Every, you know, every little, there they are there. See how tiny they are? I'm trying to get it in the light so you can see. They're Zots Bling at Michael's. And put them on the, not too far in, but put them on the outer edge. I end up using quite a few. Yes, just put them down. You can roll them up if you want, but I suggest that you don't. Try to leave them flat on the filigree, and you'll get a really nice look. Saturdays, I get a lot of emails, sorry, but I'm going to keep forging ahead because I want to get this finished for you and have it up just in case you have a wedding card to go to. And this would make a beautiful Christmas card as well. You could change it up and have it for Christmas with a beautiful font on here that says Merry Christmas in the center of that. That panel alone, without anything else, would be beautiful. I really believe that. And then later on, as time progresses, as you're creating the card, if you think you need another glue dot here and there, which I did, I went back and there's the pokey tool thing. I slid my pokey tool down the vellum, went along to see if there was anywhere I could use an extra one. Here I cut off this bling off of a wedding dress. This was off of the train. Oh, hundreds of meters of this on the train. You could never, and I paid $50 for this train, veil, and wedding dress. You should see the bling I got off of that. Spectacular. I know when people see the gowns that I get when I do haul videos that it's hard to believe that you would cut into such beautiful gowns, but really, it really does refurbish the gown where it would sit. Sometimes just getting, you know, they have it in the windows getting sun stained, and it's better for somebody like me to come along and buy it and then refurbish it and make beautiful projects like this. And like I said, it's just many feet. I wouldn't say hundreds of feet, but I tell you, if I'm still just working on the train portion, and I have so many beautiful floral beadwork to cut from. And I also not only buy the wedding gowns, but the mother-to-be gowns, the beautiful beadwork in that also is worth getting, because sometimes you can get those type of gowns, you know, wedding gowns for the mother-to-be and that. You can pick those up for $20. And it has the nice little cape that goes with them. I have a couple of outfits that are in the cream. They're just beautiful. The beadwork, that's what I look at, is the beadwork. And you know how costly it is to go and buy this by the foot. Or meter if you're in Canada, but I still go by feet. Feet and inches. I'm old school. So here we go. I'm taking the larger of the florets here and making sure that I put the hot glue on it to secure it for the first time. Then I'm going to go back with my glossy accents, the fine tip nib, and I'm going to go inside of the beadwork, because when you cut the back of these, sometimes you snip the threads and you want to make sure that they are all glued in place. So if you put the fine tip applicator down in and touch all the beads, you don't have to worry about that. Now, the boogers. Yes, you will get some boogers on the front of using the Xyron machine at times. But I put a little bit of baby powder on my fingers, and I go around and just circle all of this and take it off at one time. And it's not bothering your hand. You have a slight bit of baby powder on your fingers. It'll pick all this goober stuff up at one time. You do not have to deal with it after it's already stuck on. Isn't this die lovely? It really is. And remember, we're die cutting it again with the mirror paper and getting the gold hearts to put over top. So you get the 3D look as well as getting the gold effect that we covered up with the vellum. I just love that. So I want to encourage you, if you get to a thrift store, go over and look at the 50s style capes that they have there that has all the beadwork, sweaters that have beadwork on it from back in the 80s, 70 and 80s. You know, you pay a few dollars for the sweater, but you get all that beadwork to cut out and store for work like this. I go right over top of the vellum. Yeah, I just came up the stairs. My husband went out on a Harley ride with a buddy of his. So I just wanted to see him off and then run up the stairs and get back to my voiceover. My never-ending voiceover, right? Yeah, this is a record, 2 hours and 29 minutes. I actually got it under 2.5. Yay! But for all those that love my long tutorials, thank you so much for your patience. So now I went back with this beautiful strip of applique that I was going to put on the inside, remember, of the bride and groom outfit there. I was going to use this. Well, I set it aside, and looky here. You get to cover the two sides with this, so you get that cream effect that we're working with. We have the beautiful white pearl flower applique. Look at that. Oh, I know that I created it, and I know that I get super excited over my creations when they're done, because it's a goal, it's a fulfillment of something that you have pictured in your mind as you're creating. And when it comes to fruition, you get really excited. I think we all do when we create cards, right? So I'm going to put one on one side, and like I said, LDRS Creative dies, Teflon dies. I love the way Angie color coordinates them, so you know which collection they come from. And you look at that. And then you can go back over and look and see if you can use anything you're using for one panel on the front where your florals are. And see the way on the side panels of the borders, the filigree on the right and left side, I end up cutting the outer edge, just the tip that sticks out, because when I slid it in the box, it's really, I was going to put glossy accents on. Here's where I'm taking the glue and I'm just pumping it out because it started to go yellow, you know, and I didn't want that look, so I just squirted out. It's better to do that and waste a little bit of glue than to have that yellow when you're looking at glue, you know. I don't like that at all. So I just squirted out, and yeah, I just wanted to show you that I do whatever I, you know, mention to you, I do apply it. So there you go. Yeah, when I say I spill stuff, oh yeah, I spill stuff. And isn't this applique beautiful? Oh, you know, it just was coming together for me. I was very, very pleased. And then on the end, I glue with with glossy accents. Glue your ends that you cut. If you're cutting applique, take your glossy accents. Oh, excuse me. Ooh. Oh, you could have got some glue on your feet, your paws. Oh, that crazy little pup. He's just fantastic though, isn't he? He scares me when he shows up. There's that line. Remember at first I took it off and I tried cutting it off the plastic? Well, now I learned my lesson. I just cut up the plastic and then tear it off. Yeah, look at how fast that went. I don't even think I showed you. I tried to do it the hard way. Of course, I always try to do it the hard way at first, and then I realized just cut up the acetate and then peel it off. So I put that on the top and the bottom so I get that bling of having the pearls on there. And there you go. You just run it across, and don't forget to put the Nouveau crystal drops on the top of every other pearl to make sure they don't come up. Even if you put it on the end and the middle pearl, if you don't want to do every one. And that, when it drips down, you know, just put it on the top and watch it just drip down. When it reaches the surface, it'll secure your pearls on, and it's clear, so you won't see it. And you never have to worry that when they open it up, you know, the pearl strip has fallen off or it's hanging there. Oh, it's dreadful just to think of it. Okay, so here we go. We have to put, oh yes, I used the Mama Elephant blessing set. It has the bridal Mr. and Mrs. on it. And I should have completed the stamped portion first before I laid it down, but I didn't. So what I did was I stamped it in Versamark, took out my gold and pink mixture, and then I had to flip it really fast and then heat set it. And it had the filigree with the Mr. and Mrs. I think you're going to like it. And here's the gold portion of the same die cut of the LDRS Creative Heart die. Now I used a quick pick or pick quick stick, whatever they call this thing, but you can buy orthodontic wax. I used plenty of it working in orthodontics before I retired, and it works well. You just get a little circle, make a circle, stick it on the end of even a paintbrush, and you have yourself an instant pick stick. It'll pick up anything, jewels, everything. So it's orthodontic wax. If you're ever buying a toothbrush, look on that aisle and you'll find a little package of orthodontic wax. I'm just throwing that in for free. Now look at that. The Mama Elephant set with all the greetings, birthday, wedding, congratulations, blessings. And I put the Mr. and Mrs. because it had that beautiful filigree on it. It's beautiful, beautiful stamp set to have on hand for weddings. Grab that same line of pearls. Boy, I'm getting a lot out of that. I just put that on, and because this is not, we're working on a curve. Yes, get your glossy accents or your crystal drops by Nouveau and put a little bit on the top. Let it just drip down and secure it. Not much. You don't want it oozing all over, but you do want the odd pearl so it doesn't come up because you are going around a circle. And there you have that, my friends. Isn't that beautiful? I am so pleased with the outcome of this card. And then I'm going to show you the pictures at the end. Now I'm just going to show you the little 2x2 envelopes. These had little bells hanging down, so I made sure that I used the glue gun. This is a very nice glue gun that I got at Walmart. And I always have to have a couple of nice detailed glue guns. And we'll move back to where my stick pin was. I wanted to know where to put this stick pin. It is a clear diamondy pearl, pink pearl, and a plain pearl. Nothing fancy. I didn't do it to stick the pin in. I'm hot gluing it right there. I'm just trying to squeeze it in. I want that pink pearl to show up. So I'm just saying, no, you don't want it up there. Too much bulk at the top. Nope, you don't want it in there, Carol. Just no. Because of that white butterfly wing, it looks kind of empty there on the right-hand lower portion, the lower third. I try to keep in the rule of thirds, so I will put it down, lift it up there on I didn't want it on the wing, so I will hot glue it on that beautiful crisp veil. The piece I cut with the little pearls on it. I call it crinoline. Remember when back in the day we had those little crinolines we would put under our little dolls, when we would dress them up back in the day, and they'd have little crinolines. You'd put their little gloves on. Oh yeah, that's what it made me think of just there. We have one more section right there we have to decorate yet, and this is on the flap part. The flap, so it's the back flap. And so this is the smaller version of that oval die set that you will see. You'll see that it matches the large oval. So this is the inner gut part of that die set. You want to have flat because you've got the flowers on that side, and you're going to have the envelopes fitting in the side pockets. Or she can put them, she said because they have money, she's going to put it at the bottom of the card because I made the box big enough for that. And I'm just checking everything out. I love the pearls right there, the two beautiful I don't know, I like the sides, I like the little bird there, the hummingbird with the wings, Gilmore Girls, the dress, and the, you know, sometimes we forget about the male section of a bridal card, right? Because there is a groom, and this way he gets the groom tuxedo outfit there along with the beautiful gown, because sometimes we get so enamored with the bride, you know, and all of the beauty of the bride stuff, but we do have to remember there's a groom in there. So in our shadow box, we have the bride and the groom. And when I picked out the beginning portion to open up my video, I made sure that I had the gold and the wedding cake and the flowers in gold and everything just for you. Yes, when I do my tutorials, people ask me, but I purchased them. I purchased the all of those openings and my transitions and everything. It's not in my editing program, my Final Cut Pro X. It's not in there. It's not in iMovie. You need to buy those separately. So that's what I do if you're wondering. So here we go back to the card. I have the purse on the upper section. I just left it. There's nothing underneath. And I've got the ring underneath the purse. Then I have the shoes underneath the ring. Then I have the beautiful stockings on the left side there I'm gluing down, and the veil with the diamond in it on the right side. And I'm telling you, that just makes it. It doesn't stick out too far. It's classy. It goes with the bridal gown. I wasn't sure where I was going to seat that or put that, but I think just putting a frame like that and adding it to the outside. You see the gold. Not everything has to fit inside an oval cutout, right? And I'm going back to this same flower, but I'm going to use the small ones, I think. On that section that I cut out of the veil, it has beautiful flowers going up. I literally cut the whole outside portion of the train. So I'm going to use the small ones. There's all kinds of different flowers on this outer edge of the train. So you see there's the big one, the small one, there's a filigree style. So it worked out. I took the tiny one and put it on each corner so it didn't take away from anything else. It's just there. Make sure that you tack it down with your hot glue and that your glue is white, you know, because my glue gun's been sitting hot for a long time, every day. I've worked on it for 2 weeks, this card, you know. There we go. Put a nice portion to get it down. Look at your corners and make sure they meet all at the same point on the top. That's important. That one didn't. So I took it off and I started again. Oh, actually, when I'm looking at it, it was missing a little pearl. So be mindful of that. I just cut another one off. Then I go back with my Nouveau Crystal Drops or your glossy accents, and I just tip it down in there to secure those pearls. You do want to do those little things. And it just is a mind thing where you don't have to worry that the bride and groom open up this card and, you know, little bits start falling off. Yes. I love the purse, that beautiful silver. So you end up, you know, on the front where I put the flower, it's almost like a daisy of the gold and silver. Well, this is where I pull together some silver. And in the front of those little cards, those 14 cards, I did gold and silver. So she could mix it up. And then the little card on the inside, look at that. I did in pink parchment paper. And then I did the, I'll show you that when I do the tutorial for the box. I'll show you how I did the little cards. There's the back. There's the sides. Oh, I'm in love with this card. Yes. She took it a couple of days ago. So it's amazing that I ended up getting 2 hours and 29 minutes. Yeah, I'm going right up to the light there. That light that just, see how the light shines down. You can see the pearls, the outside layer of pearls. I love the back. It's just a romantic card to me. So pretty. So yes, I did include this. I didn't know I did. Woo! Isn't that so romantic, that transition? I love it. Yeah, it pays to buy those things for me. It makes my tutorials like different, you know, and it's worth it to me. I don't know. I'm just a hopeless romantic, I guess you would call me. Here we go. So there's the die cuts. This is Spellbinders, and it's borders. Whenever you see the Spellbinders that I showed you and it says borders, it's these ones here. Actually it's a 6 set, because you have the inner portion to cut out if you want, or you can leave it gold and not cut it out. I love the bells on this. See the 2 little bells hanging down the left and right side. Oh, so beautiful. So here I put half pink, you can see on the right side, and half cream cardstock. It's parchment paper. And it's from that Ben Bang pad of parchment paper, because when I do calligraphy, I use parchment paper whenever I have to do up anything for anybody. So the same as brush lettering, it works beautiful on parchment paper for sure. So this is the cream. I did 14 of these envelopes. Yeah, she needed 10, but 14 because, you know, somebody could drop it. You never know what would happen. So I just made some extras, and I did it just shy. The white envelopes are 2 by 2, so I just did a 1/16 of an inch so it could slide in there nicely. So it's almost 2 by 6. That way it folds. Oh, the card is 2 by 3, 3 by 2. The envelope, excuse me, it's not 2 by 2, it's 2 by 3 or 3 by 2. Depends if you're dyslexic or not. Oh dear. So take your bone folder. There it is, the Martha Stewart. Now, if you just press it in the middle, just in the middle, see what you get there? That is perfect. You get that really nice doily, that scallop pretty look, but you don't chomp it off because I don't know, you could put ribbon through that too. I thought of that, of just making a round hole and then closing it with ribbon, but I knew the money and they're going to write on that, right? So yeah, the Victorian border we use on the box. I think you're going to like that tutorial as well, because that box will fit 3 different size cards, and I'll share that with you in the next tutorial. So just cut in the center. It just looks elegant, doesn't it? When you don't do the entire top portion cutting, that just gives you an opportunity for something to rip off. So I thought if you just do the center of the border, it will be nice and pretty. You fold them like this. It needed to be 3 inches by 2 inches, so I just cut a little bit off each side, punched it. I went back and did the pink. It looks like I have all cream, but I did 4 of them pink and 10 of them cream. So, you know, if somebody wanted the pink, they could have the pink. So there they are. I have 5 of them ready. You take it out, they get to write their little message. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. I love pretty, don't you? And you put it in there. They get to put their money gift in there and their note and who it's from right inside the little gold die cut. And there's the box. That's the box I'm going to do the tutorial on. Cameo, very simple. LDRS Victorian border going across in white and cream. Beautiful silk ribbon, and I do all the sides of the box. The bottom, the back, the sides, the lid, the inside, and I put some beautiful surprises on the lid that I will show you in that tutorial. It's clean, it's simplistic. I haven't done the inside here because I want to show you what I do. I think you'll love it. Easy peasy box to create, my friends. Easy peasy box, which will fit. Oh, this is the bottom section. Okay, I haven't done the lid yet, but this is the bottom. It says congratulations. When they lift this card out, they're going to read congratulations. There's those little flaps. Shadow box. I don't know. I'm just very pleased with the outcome of the card. I hope the bride and groom enjoy it. Felice and Stacy, thank you for the privilege of making this card. Thank you to my daughter-in-law for putting her faith in my ability to create this wedding card for her. So thank you, Tanya, and to everybody that viewed this, my subscribers, have a blessed week. I will see you on the next tutorial. I can't wait to read your comments and to answer them. So please enjoy the pictures and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Take care, everybody.